After the match, Lee helped Riddle to his feet. Bobby Lashley entered the ring and hit Lee from behind, which knocked him into Riddle. Lee remained on his feet and charged at Lashley, who performed a one-arm slam. Lashley put Riddle in the hurt lock and then tossed him aside. Lashley went to ringside and ran Lee into the ring post. Lashley pulled the ring steps apart and ran the top piece at the head of Lee, who fell behind the broadcast table. Lashley climbed into the broadcast table and held his U.S. Championship belt while MVP applauded while showing off his THB chain.
What I would say about this match, MVP, as usual, very articulate and very good on commentary. Actually, better than any of the commentators on there, including Joe.
It was very disrespectful.
It's true. And the other thing was Lee won with that pop-up powerbomb. Then, bro, Lashley came in and basically chokeslammed Keith Lee, which is not, an easy task. Then he ragdolled Riddle. Then he went outside, clotheslined this guy again for just
he manhandled these guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, it looked very impressive, and he showed a lot of fire too.
Up to now, I'd agree with you. MVP, he should be doing guest commentary a little bit more often because he gets everything across very well. And yeah,
who's a better commentator, MVP or Chris Jericho?
Chris Jericho. Got to go with Jericho.
Konnan, what about you?
They're different styles.
Yeah,
that's not what I asked you.
As a commentator, maybe MVP.
Who's better?
I think MVP.
All right. Got a great headline. Konnan buries Jericho's commentary for the YouTube right there by a very cleverly crafted question by me. Randy Orton delivered a backstage promo and said he and McIntyre have unfinished business. That's like the trend. He said McIntyre took the title from him and he will take it back at Elimination Chamber. Orton said the title means everything to him, then brought up setting the Fiend on fire and said he lives with his actions. Orton said McIntyre would be introduced to the Legend Killer, and then Destiny will come calling at the Chamber, and he will walk into WrestleMania as WWE Champion.
Like I said, not a great promo. He's starting to feel stale to me.
Right. That when I read that sounded stale. Like it reads stale, which is
Right. Believe me.
Yeah. Nia Jax versus Lana. This is the thing that all the geeky wrestling fans this week thought was like so entertaining is that Lana did a leg drop.
Nia.
And Nia did a leg drop, said my hole. And like all the wrestling geek people like just thought this was like the greatest moment ever on Raw and stuff. So but
you thought that was
Lana
funny,
won.
Joe?
No. I think the reaction
you
is
did,
funny.
Joe. You did. You did.
No,
think it was
I don't think anything that she's involved in is funny or entertaining.
But yeah, what Raven does is.
Oh yeah.
But did you think?
Absolutely.
That's legit.
Absolutely. Look at him.
Absolutely.
What, does he pay you extra for putting him over?
No, it does not.
Konnan is. We've heard Raven's comedy.
Yeah.
And Konnan is so supremely offended by it that he is questioning the ethics of the people that are defending him.
Yeah. Thinking I'm taking payola.
Right.
But I'll be honest, Joe. I think Konnan has a better gauge of Raven's comedy as it's presented now compared to the comedy that we knew from previous.
Right. No, I agree.
So yeah. So there's Raven needs to pick up his comedy game. Nia Jax versus Lana tables match. She did the leg drop. She busted her ass. She said my hole. I bet you she really. That's a hard. These people do these spots in the apron, and it's like you're never gonna get hurt. Like, come on.
Not only that, let me add to that.
Well, let me finish things. So yeah. Lana puts Nia Jax through the tables, and Lana wins the match even after cowering and like crying. Like, this is presented as like professional wrestling, and one of the competitors is like crying and cowering. The referee would just end like if this is boxing, what would the referee do?
Stop the match. So just like that match, remember she won where she stood the whole match on the stairs and then came in for the pin. Like she always slips on a banana peel and happens to win. How are you supposed to get anybody over like that? Because they come off as a goofball. All right, and you got two terrible workers. Okay. Two very bad promos, and they continue with this non-happening feud. Who actually thinks this is any good, and hasn't already Lana gotten her a comeuppance? I mean,
yeah.
And then the way she beat her, she just basically, when Nia Jax was unexpected, she pushed her into the table that was outside. She didn't even put her through a table. You know what I'm saying? This is brutal.
So then just because they were the ringside attendants. So Naomi and Shayna Baszler got into it in like the schmaz that they had, and so that gestated into a match somehow. And they wrestled each other, and what's her name? Naomi just beat Shayna Baszler.
Right, and Shayna Baszler
the
a year ago was like undefeated badass.
The heels got double check buried.
Right.
They get the two check marks. You got buried, check, got buried again, check, double buried.
A year ago, Konnan, at the Elimination Chamber, and I remember specifically because I was there, she was in the main event Elimination Chamber and just beat the out of the other 5 girls and eliminated all of them.
Yeah. They that up too, bro. They had a girl that, again, was ready to, and they stopped the push like they always do. That start that benefits no one.
All right, so then we get to Orton versus McIntyre.
Right.
Typical basic match between these two guys. I fast forward through it because I knew it would just be serviceable and decent and professional.
Yeah,
I don't want to see the finish. Well, of course. So they're not putting on a 5-star epic because they're smart enough not to do that unless it's like a pay-per-view. So they work. Let me give you the finish here. Late in the match, Orton performed the draping DDT on McIntyre. Orton played to the virtual fans and struck the Viper's pose. Orton went for the RKO, but McIntyre avoided it and came right back with a Future Shock DDT. McIntyre waited for Orton to get up, but Sheamus hit the ring and went for his finisher on McIntyre, who stepped aside, causing Orton to take the brogue kick to end the match. What'd you think?
I thought it was a good match.
And then McIntyre dropped Sheamus with the Claymore kick.
I like that.
Yeah, but I'm watching the end of this, and like all they're doing, whenever the angle is where there's 3 people involved and they've heat with each other, they always do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like the one guy goes to kick the other guy, and he moves out of the way.
Sheamus was going to get heat on, was going to turn on him again, so I like the swerve.
Right. I did not like
Bro, not a fan of this show. It's not a good show. There's nothing on there that I'm like, wow, I got to see it next week. Absolutely nothing, including Bad Bunny. I mean, there's nothing, bro.
No, it's I sat down, I had it on, and when you asked me if there was anything memorable for me, I'm like, no, not really. It's just it's fine to have on in the background, but
WWE didn't used to be like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Raw used
I
to
think
be
that's
great.
what pisses all of us off.
Even that era when Punk just started getting hot, and guys like Bryan were coming up, and like that 2011 to 12, even to 13, like it wasn't as must see.
That was still good.
Yeah, it wasn't as must see as it was in the 90s, of course, but it was like I knew who every character was. They all had like a purpose, and I don't know. Now it's like it just seems very, very much more random.
All right, so that's been the Raw review. I mean, like most weeks, if you're missing the show, you ain't missing much. So, and there's really nothing that I could actually tell you, hey, watch this. Unless you want to watch some really bad stuff, and there's a lot of that.